Politically, how problematic will it be for Republicans not to figure out a solution to this?
Well, everybody's got to have an answer to rising costs across the board, whether it be healthcare or anything. This is what people voted on. I believe this is what led to Donald Trump's election in 24. I believe it's what led to Mondami's election in 25. I think affordability is the issue. That's what trumps everything else. People care about these other issues. They certainly want, us to have smart foreign policy and, all of those things. But if you're living paycheck to paycheck, which most Americans are, and you can't afford to make ends meet, nothing else matters other than that. And they want to know that people are going to have a plan to help fix that.
Has your party been making this enough of a focus?
I don't think they have.
Because the president himself called affordability a Democratic scam this week.
I don't believe that to be true at all. No, it's real. Believe me, I hear it every day back home. Mm-hmm. It's real.
Do you find those comments problematic?
I don't know what he was intending. I mean, I've heard him say the opposite of that, that he wants to focus on affordability. I don't know where he's going with that, but I can just tell you from my standpoint, affordability is the most important issue.
20 Republican Congress members may resign in the coming weeks. Let me repeat that again. 20 MAGA Republican Congress members may be resigning in the coming weeks, even before New Year's. That means bye-bye MAGA Mike Johnson. Puck, a media company, got the scoop, and what they're reporting is absolutely devastating for the Republican Party and for Trump's grip on power. Here's what's happening. Upwards of 20 House Republicans are expected to announce their retirement in the coming weeks. Most of these retirements are coming from what should be safe seats for the Republican Party, though they still potentially place additional pressure and stress on House Speaker MAGA Mike Johnson and the party's razor-thin majority in the House of Representatives. And get this. MAGA Mike and Donald Trump are even fearing that it's possible there will be a change in the majority in the House of Representatives before the midterms, potentially even in the next few weeks. Multiple Republican lawmakers and aides have been telling Puck News that there is this exodus that should be happening very soon, and it could imperil the current majority, leading to Hakeem Jeffries potentially becoming the new Speaker of the House. By the way, I am trying to do my best to gather all the information I can for you and share it with you. Please leave your likes and comments, and I would be grateful if you subscribed. Let's continue. According to this report, MAGA Republicans are seeing Donald Trump's approval plummeting across all polls right now. November's off-year elections from Virginia, New Jersey, Georgia, and throughout the country, even the special election in Tennessee's 7th Congressional District, where a MAGA candidate won but only by single digits in a district Trump carried by 22 points, is freaking out these MAGA Republicans. And they're saying that at this point, their only job is to defend whatever Donald Trump is doing, and that's not why they came into Congress. They think the regime is disrespecting them and making them all look stupid each and every day. This comes as we've learned that U.S. layoffs are on track to exceed great financial crisis levels. Layoffs right now are up 45% year over year. We're at 1.1 million layoffs already, and by the time we get the full aggregated data, that number could look closer to 2 million layoffs in a year. So while all of this is taking place, you have MAGA Republican Congress members saying, look, we have to focus on affordability, and Trump is throwing the party under the bus. He's destroying them right now. For example, you've got MAGA Republican Congress member Brian Fitzpatrick. Listen to what he says when asked how problematic it will be for Republicans not to figure out a solution to rising costs. Fitzpatrick responds that everybody's got to have an answer to rising costs across the board, whether it's healthcare or anything. This is what people voted on. He believes this is what led to Donald Trump's election in 2024. Affordability is the issue. That trumps everything else. People care about other issues, they want smart foreign policy and all those things, but if you're living paycheck to paycheck, which most Americans are, and you can't afford to make ends meet, nothing else matters other than that. People want to know that their representatives have a plan to help fix that. Then the interviewer asks, has your party been making affordability enough of a focus? Fitzpatrick's answer is devastating. I don't think they have. I don't think they have. The interviewer points out that the president himself called affordability a Democratic scam this week. Fitzpatrick responds, I don't believe that to be true at all. No, it's real. Believe me, I hear it every day back home. It's real. When asked if he finds Trump's comments problematic, Fitzpatrick says he doesn't know what Trump was intending, that he's heard Trump say the opposite, that Trump wants to focus on affordability. But Fitzpatrick can just tell from his standpoint that affordability is the most important issue number one. Then you've got MAGA Republican Congress members like Thomas Massie saying that Congress is missing in action in a lot of ways. The House is not in the driver's seat when it comes to key policy areas. You have a lot of intelligent, hardworking people who gave up a lot to be in Congress, only to find out that all they get to do is come here and rubber stamp whatever Donald Trump wants because nobody wants to be a rubber stamp. You could get a monkey to do this job. And folks, even MAGA Republican Congress member Grothman admits that if the Affordable Care Act subsidies extension reaches the House floor, which MAGA Mike Johnson is doing everything he can to block, there would be votes to extend the subsidies, which is what Democrats want and what the people want. Listen to what happens when Grothman is asked if a vote on subsidies comes to the House before the end of the year. Does it pass? His response, I hate to guess. My guess is there are enough people there who will vote yes on anything that if it's the Democrat plan, I think it'll pass the House. I shouldn't say that, but you only need to add 3 or 4 Republicans to all the Democrats and it'll pass. Now, folks, this is all coming to a head right now. Today is December 8th. We are 23 days away from the complete expiration of current locked-in Affordable Care Act exchange plans. You have to start new ones on January 1st. People will not have their health care, and tens of millions of Americans are going to lose their health insurance, not because this was some Democratic talking point, but because this is the real world. The Affordable Care Act, subsidies, and Obamacare are relied upon by people, and MAGA is ripping it away from them, saying they're going to introduce a plan. Trump says he's got a plan. MAGA Mike says they've got a plan, just give them some time. And they never introduce a plan. Now let me explain why all of this is coming to a head. The National Defense Authorization Act, the NDAA, which in theory funds the military but has a lot else moved into it, has now been released. The NDAA needs to be passed pretty soon. And when you look at what's in it versus what's not in it, it seems like MAGA Mike may be moving toward another brutal embarrassment. The NDAA calls for about $900 billion in military spending. Interestingly, it does not refer to the Department of Defense as the Department of War, just a made-up, unlawful name that Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth have used. They refer to it again as the Department of Defense. The NDAA is 3,086 pages long. Can we just think about this for a second? While the American people are having their health care ripped away, while they can't afford housing, while they see prices surging, while some are lucky enough to live paycheck to paycheck, but many aren't even getting that paycheck and are being psychologically tortured, while the rich get richer and everybody else suffers, we're spending $900 billion, basically $1 trillion, on the defense budget. Just think about that. Now, can I tell you what was not included in the NDAA that was supposed to be? There was supposed to be funding to allow military members to get IVF treatment if they want to have a baby. Donald Trump claims he's the fertilization president, or whatever gross thing he says, but they stripped out from the bill the ability of our service members to get IVF coverage because MAGA Mike Johnson and MAGA Republicans view IVF as against the will of God and view IVF as murder. So we're now depriving our troops from coverage for IVF for troops who want to start a family. What else has been removed? Department of Defense collective bargaining protections. So for all those people saying they're unions for Trump, no, you're unions for stupid, because Trump hates unions. How many ways can Trump tell union leaders and people in unions who still support him that he hates them? His whole life, he hates unions. If there are a few things he's known for, it's you're fired, bankrupting things, defrauding things, being a sexual abuser, and saying he hates unions. Also removed was right to housing. Many people believed the Right to Housing Act would be included in this NDAA. What was it? It was a comprehensive bipartisan federal bill designed to address the nation's housing crisis by doing actual things you need: increasing the supply of housing, enhancing affordability, reforming existing programs. This was actually going to make a massive change, but of course it was not included. And what else was taken out? A ban on the Federal Reserve issuing a central bank digital currency, or CBDC. House GOP hardliners already warned it would be a big deal if leaders left this out. But the Trump regime and Donald Trump, with all of his crypto holdings, also wants there to be a central bank digital currency. MAGA Mike Johnson back in July lied to his members and said they would add this ban, and guess what? MAGA Mike lied again. A few other data points. Marjorie Taylor Greene has been giving away the secrets of what really happens in MAGA circles behind Donald Trump's back. She says all of the MAGAs hate Donald Trump. They mock him. They make fun of him. Then they put on the MAGA hat, but everybody secretly hates him. They're just too weak and pathetic to admit it publicly, and they sell out their constituents while basically being Putin bootlickers, because Trump's messaging looks an awful lot like Russia's. Marjorie Taylor Greene also said she stood for women who were raped when they were 14 years old, and because of that, the Trump regime fought against her, and now death threats are coming her way. She said they want to protect the powerful people who are in the Epstein files, the powerful men, so Marjorie Taylor Greene is dying on Donald Trump. You have Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent being asked about Trump saying affordability is a con job by Democrats. The interviewer points out that 60% of Americans polled by CBS told them President Trump makes prices and inflation sound better than they really are. His approval rating on the economy is down to 36%. On inflation, approval is even lower at 32%. Bessent tries to defend Trump by saying the president's frustrated by media coverage, but the interviewer pushes back. These are actual Americans expressing their views, not just media coverage. Then on Fox, they bring in MAGA Republican Senator McCormick, and the best message he can come up with is, "We inherited a horrible economy from Biden, and look what we've done. We've made it a little bit better, but it's still bad." Let's be clear. Biden handed them an economy that was the envy of the world, according to The Economist, Wall Street Journal, Bloomberg. A Goldilocks economy. Inflation was going down. 16 million jobs were created. Unemployment was at record lows, and they destroyed it. McCormick says they inherited a train wreck from Biden with out-of-control inflation, but they've made progress. Inflation is about half what it was. Real wage growth exceeds inflation. That's his spin on a collapsing economy. And finally, this data point, the latest YouGov poll on refugee policy. 53% of Americans support the U.S. accepting refugees from a variety of countries. Only 19% say don't accept any refugees, which is closer to Trump's plan. And get this, only 3% of Americans think we should only accept white South Africans as refugees and no other groups. That's quite literally the Trump regime plan, based on a fake conspiracy that there's genocide against white Afrikaners in South Africa. Only 3% support that policy. 97% of Americans disapprove of accepting only white South African refugees while turning away everyone else. So to summarize, 20 Republican Congress members potentially resigning, which could flip control of the House. Trump's approval cratering, Republicans admitting they're just rubber stamps with no real power, healthcare being stripped from millions, military families denied IVF coverage, union protections removed, housing assistance blocked, and policy after policy that 97% of Americans oppose. This is the MAGA regime collapsing in real time, and even their own members are abandoning ship.